Hello, this is a quick look at the Insta360 One RS 4K edition. This is a brilliant little package. I've got the twin edition, which comes with two lenses, a standard lens and a 360-degree lens. This is capable of 4K at 60 FPS, 48 megapixel photos, and has fantastic stabilization. You get quite a lot in the box. You get the main camera, a case, the USB charging cables, and it's a really cool design. This is a bit of a transformer camera, so this is it in normal camera mode. But what if I want to change this so that I can look at the screen and hold the camera face forwards? Well, you simply pop it open and rotate the lens around, and then pop that bottom section back on, and now the lens is facing forwards rather than facing at yourself for a selfie. And you use that same method to swap the camera out and pop on the 360-degree lens. So that means you could buy this camera without the 360-degree lens and then at a later date upgrade, whether it's maybe you've saved up, maybe it's on sale, whatever. You can buy it later on and then benefit from all the 360 goodness. You might also want to get some accessories, including cases, screen protectors and selfie sticks. I was lucky, I found a deal that included all these, so it's worth shopping around and see what you can get. There's an absolute ton of shooting modes, including things like photos, videos, HDR, time-lapse, and the one that caught my eye straight away was bullet time. Who doesn't love a bit of bullet time? For that, you'll need a piece of string or the rotating selfie stick. Simply spin it round while it's on bullet time, and guess what you get? A really cool shot in slow-mo going around. Now, obviously, it'd be better if you were doing something maybe like jumping or some sort of action that caught you in the air, but I think this is a really creative way of using a camera. You can then edit all your footage on your mobile, and if you've got a 360-degree lens, that allows you to look all around, set keyframes, track objects as well. It can auto track objects, which is brilliant. That means that you don't need to worry about where the lens is pointing, because the 360-degree lens captures everything, and then the software will track the object you want to keep in shot. You can also use a computer application. I'm on Windows, and again, it lets you have a look at what's going on, change the aspect ratio, set it to tiny planet mode. There's loads of features involved in this. It's a very well developed product. I also happen to be a Premiere Pro user, and one of the advantages of getting this particular camera is you can get a plugin for Premiere Pro that lets you edit the 360 footage in Premiere. What does that mean you can do? Well, if you take a static time lapse, you can add movement to it. So here I'm setting a keyframe of where I want this to look, and then I'll set a second keyframe of where I want it to end up, and it adds movement to something that was shot standing still on a tripod, and I think the results look fantastic. But that's all the fancy stuff. What about the basics? What about just recording footage? Well, this has really great image stabilization, and to test that out and demonstrate it, I'm going to use the Rake Test, which basically means slapping the camera on the rake and bouncing it around the garden to see how stable the footage is. And I have to say, I was very impressed. So I'm using the 360-degree lens, and I'm going to move around, and you can see it's bouncing about quite a lot. Now let's swap to the camera footage, and although there's a little bit of bounce, you can see generally it's very stable. And using the 360-degree lens means that you don't have to rotate around with the object it's on. You see here, I've got it just a fixed position, looking straight forwards, and actually it's really stable. So I've got the DJI Osmo Action and the Insta360 just to do a quick comparison. I'm not expecting the audio to be brilliant on either of these because I'm not using a microphone, this is using the inbuilt microphone. Which one do you think looks best? I think from looking at the little screens, the Osmo has a closer up view, whereas the Insta360 appears to be a wider angle lens. Having used these both for a while now, I prefer the visuals of the Insta360. I think the colours look much better, but I prefer the audio of the DJI Osmo Action. And there is another little feature of the Osmo Action that I prefer as well, and that's simply the way you can access the port on the side. On the Insta360, it has a very fiddly little port where you put the memory card and access the USB-C port. So the Insta360 is a brilliant action camera. I love all the creativity you get with having a 360-degree lens, and that you can transform it by simply unplugging, plugging things in. I think will help with the longevity, because in theory I suppose you could get a different lens in the future and just connect it to the main body. If you've not seen my video on the Osmo Action, then click here and I'll see you over there.